The most forehead sloppingly obvious answer to an issue that we discussed yesterday on this channel. And I missed it, and the chat room missed it. Somebody made a comment on the video after the show was over and revealed that.
Is this thing on?
Let's see, that was SpeakerBot. It just came through to you. You heard that. I don't have audio confirmation yet because this hasn't started. This still hasn't started playing yet. But secondly, I received a video comment yesterday from one of our regular participants who apologized saying, Doug, you were right. I was wrong. And now I have to tell him,
Rechat, please.
No, that's not true. You were right. And I was right. So how about that? This still hasn't come up. This still hasn't come alive. All right, let's try. Yeah, I'll refresh. Yeah, all right. I got an audio confirmation. So you're hearing me. Let's bring this back a bit so we don't get the picture-in-picture stuff. Oh yeah, that's a good pose right there. Yeah. All right. So there you go. There's a few directions that I could start this with. I see people checking out their points. I'll take a very quick rip through chat. Let's see. People talk about Emma and there's a joke there. We'll come back to that later. I did not read it. I did see something about flats. I think it's got something to do with singing. But anyway, let's get right to this. Oh, then also, I'm going to do a production element today that I have in the past messed up with, and we're going to see if I can do it right this time. Not accidentally expose something I don't want to expose. Also, I received another email from the questioner that we were dealing with yesterday. And I know a little bit more about him. See, John says, no way. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that may be about me messing it up. Yeah, I'm going to see a little bit of chat going on over here. So if you don't actually spell out what you mean when you're putting something in, then I'm not going to know what you mean. All right, so yeah, this is all good. Yesterday we worked with this question that had come in by email from the person who wanted to remain anonymous. And here's what he said yesterday.
Eat chat, please.
Your production, Don Williams, no way, your production. Oh, he thinks that I'm going to mess it up or not going to mess it up. He says, am I going to mess it up or not? And he says, no. Do you want to turn left or right? No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know whether he thinks I'm going to mess it up or not. Yesterday, the email was, first, I want to let you know that I'm using my alternate email account because I don't want my identity email to be shared to everyone who will watch the video. I hope that's okay. Absolutely, always. The problem I'm having is that when I'm trying to set quad 9 DNS server on my Windows 11 laptop, the IPv6 DNS setting is not sticking and it seems to be reverting to automatic DHCP. It seems to be happening intermittently. I think it happens when I switch Wi-Fi networks. I'm following the quad 9 Windows 11 encrypted DNS setup guide. And there was actually a link in his original email that took me to that documentation. The link didn't show up over here. I don't know why. So anyway, and I said he's using an alternate email. Well, that alternate email did give a name, and we're gonna use that name for him, which is Mitch. And no, it's not the Mitch on Carrie Holzman show. I know that. See right here, he tells me what his real name is. Star. No, he actually had his real name there and gave that to me. But anyway, here's what he said yesterday. After watching the video, I realized I forgot some important information. The IPv4 DNS setting works fine and sticks as it should. Therefore, what I was saying yesterday about why it wasn't sticking, probably not valid. It is only the IPv6 DNS settings that is not sticking, if that makes sense. Now, I am going to get around to your comment. The one person who's thinking, I already gave you the answer. I already gave you the answer to that. Hey, why not try this? No, he didn't say it that way. But yeah, it was. Myself and none of the people in the chat room actually caught it the way that video commenter said it. I followed the guide on the Quad 9 website for Windows 11 for both IPv4 and IPv6. Also, in case you or other viewers are wondering, I can't set DNS server on my router at home because it's an Xfinity gateway router, which doesn't allow changing DNS. I kind of doubt that. I think you can. I think it might just be that you don't know where to do that. I'm really curious to try that, test that on mine, because I think you should be able to change your DNS. Pretty sure. It vaguely seems familiar that internet service providers are trying to prevent that, but I want to try it, find out. Not during today's show. Today's show is too busy. Also, as a user in the chat suspected, I travel quite frequently, and that's why I connect to different Wi-Fi networks. This is also why I'm wanting to set it through the Wi-Fi adapter, which, if I'm understanding it correctly, should set Quad 9 as my DNS regardless of which Wi-Fi I'm connected to. Yes. The issue is that IPv6 DNS setting seems to revert to default intermittently. Okay, we're going to go right now to the video commenter who gave the obvious, simple, easy solution to this. Oh my gosh. It's just embarrassing. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Some of my reactions are over dramatized for educational effect? No, entertainment value. Carrie Holzman, who's surprised that it would be Carrie Holzman that came in with the obvious, simple answer. Hey, what about this? There is a great video about, let's see, not that one. We'll get to that one. Where is it? Wait a minute. Where is it? All right. I got to go find it. Where was that? Oh, did I just dream that he came up with this great answer? Yeah. Okay. I think what happened. Hey, what happened, man? I think what happened is somehow he fell off of my comments list. Or, all right, I'll go find it here. I'm going to bring up yesterday's video. That's a foreign pronunciation of video. For those who didn't catch that. Let's see if it's over here in yesterday's. No, it's not. Where was that? Oh my gosh. Is that the only one thing that I didn't look for where it is? Well, I already spilled the beans. It was Carrie Holtzman. All right, I'm just going to tell you what he said. I'm going to try to paraphrase it because I can't read it. I don't know where it went to. Yeah, what he said is he said, I don't understand why this person's trying to fix IPv6. There's no reason to have IPv6 active on the local area network. None whatsoever. Absolutely not. Just disable it. You don't need it. It's not useful. It's not helpful at all, ever. Okay, but then recently I said there are some exceptions. So yeah, there are some exceptions. So yeah, you can disable IPv6 and re-enable it all day long. You don't even have to restart your computer and just turn the sucker off. You don't need it. So let's go. See what I want to do this. I know. So we need to go into Windows key R ncpa.cpl. That'll get you in the network control panel where we actually make the changes to the network adapter itself. Right click on your Wi-Fi adapter, choose properties, and scroll down here to find the IPv6. Just remove that check mark. You don't need IPv6. Even if the website that you're connecting to is IPv6 only, and there are some of those out there, you don't have to have it in your local area network. You don't have to have it active in your local area network, because the IPv4, you're going to be able to communicate with the router that you're connected to, whether you're connected by Ethernet or by Wi-Fi, doesn't matter. You're connected by IPv4. The website that you're going to, the router is going to establish a connection to that website out there. If it's IPv6 only, then there's going to be communication between the router and the website using IPv6. But between the router and your computer, it's going to be IPv4. There's no reason to be using IPv6. As a matter of fact, in response to that, I said, you know what? Windows defaults to IPv6 always on. When you install it, when you buy a new computer, every time Windows defaults to IPv6 on. So I added it to my checklist when I'm setting up a computer. Hi, Stormy. I'm just going to uncheck that always. There's no point in having that running. None. So there. Take that. Mitch, just disable it. You don't need it. So then there are some exceptions to every rule, right? So I asked Copilot to give me those exceptions. Is there any special case reason a local area network might be configured for IPv6 and IPv4 disabled, meaning you might only want IPv6? So there's what it responded. I'm not going to read through them because, yeah, no, that's anybody wants to see that, you can. Let's scroll up a little bit. You can pause the video here and go read that stuff for yourself. Yeah, not interested. Okay. What in the world happened to Carrie's comment? I don't know where it went. Did he delete it? I can't imagine that. All right. Whatever. Moving on. Yeah, let's see. Is there something else about that
Read chat,
issue?
please.
Okay, I'm going to go catch that read chat, please, from Seldon Ball, because it's on topic, on this topic. About to turn off my Peacher. The person with a question about Quad 9 travels. He travels. Presumably, he wants IPv6 DNS queries to be private when he's not at home. Of course, a VPN is needed to keep the IP addresses private. Yeah, I don't see that needs IPv6. If he's going to be using, he's using the DNS, the Quad 9. That's going to encrypt his DNS queries. Yes, but he does not need IPv6 to do that, because Quad 9 itself gives instructions for configuring IPv4 and IPv6. It's not required to have IPv6. Unless I'm wrong. And I've been wrong before. Of course, the VPN is needed to keep the IP addresses private. Well, once Quad 9, let's see, Quad 9 is just going to deal with the DNS queries. So he's not on some other DNS platform that keeps records. One of the things that Quad 9 claimed about itself is it doesn't keep records. Now, another thing after the show was over that I remembered, I listened a lot to Darknet Diaries, which is stories about real hacking stuff, and the host interviews actual hackers and actual government agents, and really get some interesting stuff put out on the table. One of the things put out on the table is that the was it the Secret Service or probably maybe FBI, they would actually spin up their own services that are of interest to people who operate on the dark web and for criminal entities, such as it's very conceivable they could put up their own privacy-oriented DNS service that they're marketing, hoping that criminals will use it. But law enforcement agencies have no compulsion to not lie. They can lie to try to catch the good guys. So, yeah, I haven't looked into Quad 9 at all. And if they put something up like that, you're not going to be able to Google and find out whether it's really legit. Oh, Gary's got something. Maybe he's got something on that. Does he? I'm gonna take that off screen when I look at that to see if that's something I want to go to. Oh, no, it looks like, oh, that's from UK. It looks like I can't get to that. Let's see, if I do straight left click, no. If I right click, copy link address, and then go paste it, that still doesn't go. Still doesn't work. So nope, I think I would need a VPN to connect to that. A VPN where I'm claiming to be from the UK. Go there with IPv6 off. Turn on IP6. Oh, okay, so maybe that is a site that requires me to have IPv6? Really? On my local network? Well, I did that on Wi-Fi. I'm connected by Ethernet. That one's unplugged. It must be this one. And notice this, the name. Windows has been so bad about this. It gets the wrong name for that network. That's 5G is the SSID for my Wi-Fi. Okay, let's see if I have IPv6 turned off. I have it turned off, so I'm going to turn it on. No, you don't need to restart your computer for that, as I understand, as I have tested before. Okay, I'm going to take that off. Yeah, okay, that works. Interesting. So with IPv6 turned off on my local computer, I cannot get to that site. Does that prove myself and Carrie Holzman wrong? Does that prove us wrong? Gary, is that your point? Is that your point? Are you saying that we were wrong about that? That if you want to connect to a site that uses IPv6, you actually have to have IPv6 enabled? Who? Can I play the game? Original game created by Andre. It does not appear that he patented the game. Squirrel. Nope, I'm not seem to. Oh, that's hints. Level 5 hints. Huh. Turn on IPv6. Well, there you go. Yes, he's saying yes, that myself and Carrie Holzman are wrong. There are some sites where you have to have IPv6 turned on locally in order to get there. I did not know that. I never know, Alice, I never know how to enable IPv6. It's enabled by default, and I just showed it a few times. My wife caught, yeah, okay, that's off topic, so I'm not going to go there.
Read chat, please.
That is fascinating. Thank you. I ate a banana this morning. Well, that's not what he's saying. Regarding link, Martin Hogg's link. Martin is in the UK and he can't open that link. Okay, well, yeah, you'd have to enable IPv6. Go check your IPv6. Now, you can do it with Windows key R and NCPA-CPL. You can go that way. Or if you go this way, let's see. I'll take that off screen for a moment and check on something first. Yeah, okay, that should be all right there. And then go to your Ethernet here. Private network. So down here, IP assignment. And if you don't see IPv6 showing up in here, then you don't have it configured. Then I don't think it lets us turn that on and off in here. So you have to get to the network control panel somehow. So anyway, the ncpa.cpl is one way to get to it, or another way is your Windows key and then type network and view network connections right here. I think that's the right one. That'll get us to the same place. Yes, it does. And then from here, go to the Ethernet that you're actually connected on, right click properties, and then come down to IPv6, put a check mark on. And I just proved you can add that check mark while you're up and running, and that activates IPv6. You do not have to restart. Interesting. Gary. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Wow. Gary, you just corrected both me and Carrie Holzman. Let's see. I guess I don't need the plus sign. That's like 10,000 points. Yikes. Well done, my friend. See what that brings them up to. Been given 10,000, now has 10,250 points. I think you're the leader in today's show. Ay, caramba. Well done. Okay. Now, was there another comment on that topic on channel comments? Let's see, some of these can hold off a little bit because we've got just 10 minutes to go. And I gave something else that I promised to talk about. Not that one. Not that one. Sin Vicious, I'm still holding on to your comment. We'll get to it another day. Okay, here we go. I had promised this one. Ran Israel. Apologies, Doug. You were right and I was wrong, he says. When I first saw that, I thought, am I going to do another one of those happy dances? No, I can't because you weren't wrong. He says, I did some tests and Windows does indeed retain manual IP DNS settings on a per network basis. This feature must have been introduced somewhen between one Windows version and another, as I recall it not being so in the past. I will accept any pending demerits. No, sorry, you don't. No, you don't get demerits. So I'm going to show you why that's okay. And I already showed it. I showed you. I've shown already when you go into the network control panel, you're changing the settings for the adapter. Yesterday, what I showed was changing settings for the specific Wi-Fi SSIDs. So I'm going to go show that just to be sure that people understand. Now I'm going to click this right arrow in a moment, but before I do that, I'm going to go implement that production element that I have messed up before to see if I can do it right this time. So to do this, I've got to turn on studio mode. And then I've got, well, even before studio mode, I've got to take that off screen and then turn on studio mode. And then I punch my button for monitor 1 and it shows up on my studio screen. And I can then turn on a blur because I need to blur an element in here. Not that one. That one. And hold down the Alt key while I'm changing the size and shape of this. Let's see, now I got to bring up my list of Wi-Fi connections. And that's not the one I wanted to go to. Let's see. Where I need the manage no networks. That's it. And then if I go there, yeah, okay. So now do this. This is taking way too long. This is why I wanted to practice this. And then I'll pop out that preview window so I can see it big and make sure that that is sufficient. Yes, it is sufficient. Now, then, bring OBS back up, do transition. There, should do that one. Okay, there. What I did there is I blurred out the SSIDs. because some of them are my clients. And now what you do here, when you make changes in here for each of these SSIDs, there you can have static IP addresses and DNS settings for each of these specific SSIDs. And that should be overriding whatever you have configured in your network adapter. However, I've not tested that. So what takes priority? Is it the configurations of the Wi-Fi adapter, or is it the configurations of the SSID? I would hope it'd be the SSID, because obviously any SSID you're connecting with that Wi-Fi adapter. So if the Wi-Fi adapter has static addresses configured, the specific Wi-Fi SSID that you're connecting to should override that. Now, then I'm going to click on that. And then here I can turn off the blur. To do that, I have to first turn off studio mode. Then I can turn off that blur. Okay, so here you're in IP assignment and IP assignment edit. Here's DHCP. So we can click on edit. And down here, choose manual. You can turn on whichever IP you want. And then here's where you got your DNS settings that would be specific to that SSID. And then anytime you connect to that SSID, if that network needs static addressing, then this is how you can put it in. So there. Rand, you were right. Doug, you were right. Neither of you can point the finger. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to come back and put a timestamp on that, even though Rand Israel is in chat today, I think. And but for someone else seeing his comment, that they could see my response. All right. Was there anything else I really wanted to get to today? I don't think so. I do have a redirect set up for Carrie's show today. And I missed that yesterday because I was short on time before the show started. Didn't get around to it. We got a joke to get to in here somewheres. You know what? First, I'm going to go look at any oranges. Oh, you know what else I want to do? I have that piece of software, whatever it was, that allows me to use the one mouse and keyboard across two computers. Well, I think the mouse that is actually plugged into Baby Beast will also work on both computers. Yeah, it comes over here. Oh, I remember why I don't like it over here. It just darts so quick. It's very slight movement on the mouse pad. It goes way across the screen, but not on Baby Beast. When I move it over to Baby Beast, it moves gradually. So the settings for this gaming mouse on Big Beast apparently has this effect on the Baby Beast mouse that makes it go across the screen real quick. But how does the scroll wheel work on that one? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. If the website is IP6, IPv6 only. So the website, some websites out there would be IPv6 only, because the reason we have IPv6 around the world is because we're running out of IPv4 addresses. So some of them got to be using IPv6 only. In Windows 11 and Linux, if you set the DNS on the adapter, Ethernet or Wi-Fi, DNS will not be overridden. Well, the only place I'm interested in whether it will be overridden is for Wi-Fi, because Ethernet, you're only... Okay, well, yeah, if you set it on the adapter for Ethernet, you're never connecting to another SSID. You might be unplugging your laptop from the Ethernet on one network or going to some other network, and you plug it in. Yes, that Ethernet setting for the adapter will stick, because there's no such thing as an SSID on another network. It will not be overridden, but it was for me on a plane with Starlink, but you can set for SSID. In Windows 11 and Linux, if you set the DNS on the adapter, Wi-Fi DNS, I'm just going to think of that, will not be overridden. It was not overridden for me on a plane with Starlink, but you can set for SSID. I think what he's saying here, Gary, give me a yes or no on this. I think what he's saying is that if your Wi-Fi adapter is set to DHCP, no, if your Wi-Fi adapter is set to a specific
Rechat, please.
A static addressing, and the Wi-Fi you're connecting to is set for DHCP, then the settings for the Wi-Fi adapter would and should override the SSID. But if your Wi-Fi adapter is set for DHCP and you set a, well, let's say if your Wi-Fi adapter is set for a static IP, and then you're connecting to a SSID that has a different static configuration, I would expect and hope that the static configuration for the Wi-Fi would override the configuration for the adapter. But if the adapter has static and the SSID has dynamic, then the adapter configuration I would expect and want to override. Maybe Gary hasn't tested all of that variation, because that's a few variations. I know there's a read chat, please. Wintermute comment. Okay. If anyone wants to see their IPv6 is working, test IPv6.com. All right, cool. All right. You should have given a caution about that. I'm not going to go into the details why I'm saying that. Wintermute knows. A few of the others of you know. How many times have I taken it off screen to go to a link and I didn't do it on that time? John Downey, I use Synergy 3 software. I'm just going to take this off screen again and be sure. I'm right about that chastisement. Yeah. All right, so much for that. I use John Downey. I use Synergy 3 software where I can use one keyboard and mouse to control my Mac and PC. It's like I have one computer with 5 monitors. Yeah, well, that's precisely what I'm doing here. Is it Synergy? I don't know. It's I don't know which one it is. Well, it's probably not showing up in there. It would be on the taskbar, whatever it's called. Somebody knows what it's called. I don't think it was Power Toys. This one. This is it. Mouse without borders. That's the one I'm using. I have to move the mouse really, really slow. Wi-Fi also SSID will not override the Wi-Fi, will not override the DNS. Wi-Fi also SSID. You're saying Wi-Fi and SSID like they're two different things. SSIDs are what, sub-elements of Wi-Fi? Also, SSID will not override the Wi-Fi, will not override the DNS. I'm sorry, you did not word that very well. DNS is separate from DHCP. Well, DHCP assigns DNS values. You can configure your IP network through DHCP, but you also configure on your router your DNS settings that gets handed out to the computers that are connecting through DHCP. You can have a static DNS on a network adapter, but your your basic IP address is still being retrieved dynamically, and your statically configured DNS will override what the router has. But the router hands out DNS values. DNS is separate from DHCP. I am talking about DNS will not be overridden. Okay, so he's saying if you have DNS settings on some, there's many variations there. I have tested. I would need to really dive into the details of your testing protocol to buy that. Okay, so I've done the oranges. I haven't got to the joke yet. Where did my mouse go? Here, mousy. It just darts around so fast. Oh, well, the scroll wheel works now, right? So I should be doing scroll anyway, because there's a joke up here somewhere that I haven't got to yet. Emma is the singer in the trailer. There's a link in the trailer. Yeah, I mean, there's a link in the description of this video to take you to that trailer. In the description of that standalone trailer, it has a link to the original video where I edited that from. It's very much worth watching the whole video if you found that all interesting. Here we go, Brian. C, E flat, and G walk into a bar. The bartender shows them the door and says, "Oh, sorry, we don't serve minors." E flat, C, E flat, and G is the C minor chord. Am I right? Yeah, because the second is flat. So that is the first, third, and fifth, and the third is flatted. You didn't know I knew that much about music theory, did you? The normal C chord would be C, E, and G. Duh. I have no idea that was anywhere near close. Does anyone in the chat have experience with SolidWorks? Okay, I'm not going to be able to read through all the chat messages. If there's something I specifically need to get to, stop trying to go to that scroll box. If there's something I need to specifically get to, then point it out, please. Did Gary's comment self-destruct after 5 seconds? Man, I'm seriously questioning my sanity.
Read it, chat, please.
All right, I'm gonna get to that. Then I'm gonna hang it up. Gary, the static set on the adapter. Oh, I router DNS on the Wi-Fi adapter will not be overridden by the SSID access point. I would expect that. The router or managed switch can hand out IP addresses, but DNS will not override. I totally agree with that. Yeah, if you set DNS on your Wi-Fi adapter, it will not be overridden. If you don't set DNS specifically on your Wi-Fi adapter, it will inherit the DNS that the router is handing out if the router is configured as DHCP. If you turn off DHCP on the router, the computer is not going to receive DNS. And that's where I'm saying that DNS is part of DHCP. By my understanding of my experience. But yeah, I totally agree with this. Now, if you have DNS configured on your Wi-Fi adapter and you have a different DNS configured for that specific SSID, will that DNS of the Wi-Fi SSID override what you configured for the adapter? I would hope so. Now, the Wi-Fi router will not override it, but if you configure something specific for that SSID on your computer, that should override what you have configured on the adapter. Do you think that's true, Gary? Or do you take issue with that? Yeah, short amount of time to respond to that before I'm out of here. You can send an email to this email address to ask a question. Myself in the chat room will do our level best to respond and give you the answer, or give you a pointer towards the answer, or an inspiration towards the answer. Or you can put a comment on any of my videos. And then Gary is saying, no, DHCP has nothing to do with DNS. Wi-Fi adapter will never be overridden. That's not what I was saying. You didn't understand me right. DHCP does hand out DNS. If you have DHCP turned on the router and you have DHCP turned on the Wi-Fi adapter. I'm really tempted to do a recording today and prove that. I don't buy that just from your statement there. Wi-Fi adapter will never, yeah, now this part I agree with. I've said, everything I've said agrees with that. But DHCP does have something to do with DNS. It will hand out DNS addresses. So it's not nothing. It does do that. And I might be coming on tomorrow saying that I have another apology to make. Gary says, if the adapter is blank, yes. Okay, then right there, you are saying that you are incorrect there. You're saying DHCP does have something to do with DNS if the adapter does not have a specific DNS. All right? You're agreeing with me. Finally. Get out of here. Go, go, go. Get out of here. Have a great day, everybody.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe